Hey guys, so hopefully you checked out the value song that was presented before this video. If not, you really need to go check it out. It's super duper catchy and it'll really help you understand everything that is expected of you for this particular assignment. So I want you to make sure that you have your sketchbooks out right now because you're going to be expected to write these specific vocabulary terms in your sketchbook. So make sure you have that handy, all right? Just memorizing them is not good enough. You really need to make sure you are writing these down in your sketchbook. Alrighty, so tint. A tint is when you add white to any color. So that is how you make pink. So you would add white to red, and that's how you make pink. Essentially, it's how you make any lighter color. So you could make a light blue, a light violet, etc., etc. Sorry, etc., etc. That's how you make lighter colors. You just add white. So tint is white. All right, now shade. Shade is when you add black to any color. So the example that I have here on the screen is how we make a navy blue color. You could obviously take black and red, and then you could make a maroon. Again, there's a plethora of colors that you've seen out in the wild that you may not have realized is a shade. So a great way to remember shade is you just think of like a shadow or like a really hot day and you want to go sit under the shade to get away from the sun, to get away from the light. So shade is black. All right. And now tone. Tone is when you add gray, and gray is made by mixing black and white, and you add that to any color. So you're essentially doing a tint and a shade at the same time. And so that's why it's called a tone. It's easier just to make a whole new vocab term for it. So when you add gray to any color, that is a tone. You won't typically be using tones very much in your artwork, especially not for this particular project, but it is a vocabulary term you need to know in order to be successful with this project. So your project is to create a neon-inspired painting. So if you're going to be at home for an extended period of time, as it says on the screen right here, you can do this project with colored pencils as well. But if you are able to come back in time, you will have access to our paint and whatnot. But we'll talk about that in the next slide. So if you are able to get back to school before March 4th, you will be back in time to paint in class. You don't need to worry about doing anything really outside of school. As long as you do your thumbnail sketches, you'll be okay. Now, if you're not back by that Friday, and if you're, getting back later on that Monday, you're going to be pretty behind already because this project will not take us very long. So make sure that you are actively participating in this project at home and not just waiting to get back, because then you're going to fall behind and all your grades are going to be messed up because you're going to be all over the place. So as much as I know you would love to do the painting in class if you were able to, you can achieve this same effect with color pencils. Now, if you're at home and you really want to do the acrylic painting, feel free to ask your parents to stop by Hobby Lobby, Michael's, even Walmart, honestly, and pick up some maybe cheaper paint. Or you can invest in nicer paint. It depends how active you are with your art outside of school. So you need to just make sure that you have some type of supply, whether it's paint or color pencils. You need to make sure that you have black paper. Okay, because the effect really won't work as well on white. Of course, if that's all you have, then obviously feel free to use white paper. But just know that the effect of the neon sign might not be as obvious on the white paper. So, like I mentioned in the other slides, you will be creating a neon sign, right? But there's a little bit of some requirements that you need to make sure that you're doing. So, your sign or your design has to have at least one word in it. Like this right over here, it says good vibes. That's 2. But this one over here, it says hello. This one says hello again. This is dream. So if you just have one word, that's fine. All right. But you also need to incorporate one image, an icon, an object, a little picture, whatever, going along with your word. Okay. So this is going to determine how well you can combine different elements, so it'll help with the composition. So that'll be part of what I'm grading. So making it interesting to the viewer. How do you have your words placed next to your picture? Things like that. Those are things that you have to consider with this project, okay? You need to make sure that you're creating 2 thumbnail sketches in your sketchbook, and they must be colored, because if not, it's not going to really make any sense as to where your color is going to go. They don't have to be prettily colored. You don't have to actively do all the values, but just so you know, like, hey, this is going to be pink, this is going to be blue, green, whatever, just so you get a good foundation. Okay, so those, again, those will be in your sketchbook, so make sure you have your sketchbook with you while you're working on these. Your thumbnail sketches are due for a grade, so make sure that if you're at home, you're taking the time to send a picture to me. It can be through email, it could be through Canvas, whatever is easiest for you. You could also upload a picture of your thumbnails to this specific assignment, and then when you complete your project at home, you could just resubmit your final, because I have it set up to where you could have multiple submissions. So feel free to get me those thumbnail sketches however you can, but that is essentially a breakdown of your project. Not super hard. I don't want to drag out a project before we go off for spring break. I kind of want to finish something before we leave. So here are some examples of some neon font. Of course, if you want to get even more creative and kind of come up with your own thing, that's totally fine. But just know that these are here chilling, waiting for you if you need some inspiration for some either scripts or kind of, in my opinion, the more classic neon sign. So make sure you check out the other videos on this assignment on Canvas. Make sure that you're reading over the expectations. And if you have any questions, obviously feel free to shoot me a message, and I'm more than happy to help you with anything you need.